Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Cindy?
Good evening and thank you for joining. I would ask that all devices be turned off or silenced. Tonight's meeting is a public meeting held under the Planning Act and is being live streamed to Township's YouTube page. Collection of personal information as a result of the public meeting is under the authority of the Planning Act and will be used to assist in making a decision on these matters. Persons speaking at the meeting are requested to give their name and address for recording in the minutes. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments may be collected and may form part of the minutes, which will be available to the public. Additionally, interested members of the public can email the clerk or the Development Services Department if they wish to be notified regarding a particular application. Questions regarding the collection should be forwarded to the Development Services Department. Tonight's meeting is to consider public meeting reports. These reports contain a staff recommendation, and the recommendation is typically to approve with conditions, defer the application, or to deny. After the planner's presentation, committee members will be able to ask questions of staff, followed by members of the public. Following the question and answer period, this committee will make a recommendation that then makes a recommendation of the applications to approve, defer, or deny. Following committee's decision, notice will be circulated in accordance with the Planning Act. If a specified person or public body would otherwise have the ability to appeal the decision of the committee to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the specified person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make a written submission to the Township of Stone Mills before the application is provisionally approved, the specified person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision.
Thank you, Cindy. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, a mover and a second to approve the agenda. Moved by Bob, seconded by Aaron. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Declarations of conflict of interest, general nature thereof, are there any? Let the record show there isn't any. Adoption of the minutes of August the 6th, 2025. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Bob. Seconded by Dieter. Any errors, omissions, discussion arising out of those minutes? Let the record show that there isn't none. All those in favor? Carried. Minor variance application. MV 2025-005, unaddressed Murphy Road, Sinclair. Holly, do you want to give us a preamble, please?
Testing. All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for your patience as I made my way up here. All right, so my name is Holly Crawford, and I am one of the Township's consulting planners alongside my colleague, Amy Shepard, who's here as well. We both work for a company called Arcadis and are supporting the Township Planning Department at this time. Right, so tonight I'm presenting on application minor variance 2025-0005 for an unaddressed parcel next to the intersection of Chivago Road and Camden Sheffield Boundary Road. Just a moment. Someone's got a little bit of stage fright tonight. All right, so the application before you tonight is looking to establish a dwelling, well, and septic on the vacant property and is seeking variances to accommodate this. So this is a unique triangular parcel which is formed by the convergence of 3 road allowances, one of which is unopened. And then the application is, for minor variance is to facilitate the construction of this approximately 145 square meter single detached dwelling on the subject property, and the applicant is seeking 5 variances from the zoning bylaw. So I'll just read those out for you now. So the first variance is to the extractive industrial zone setback for a new dwelling. The requirement is 150 meters, and the applicant is proposing the dwelling at approximately 60 meters from the boundary of the extractive industrial zone. And then the second variance is regarding the setback from the center line of the local township road, Shibago Road. And I will just add that there was some bit of uncertainty around the name of the road in this location. The survey did indicate Shibago Road, but I understand it may be considered Murphy Road by the locals. And so there's a bit of uncertainty. That's why you may see Murphy Road and Shibago Road. And so the center line setback requirement is 25 meters, and the proposed is 17.5 meters. The third variance is for special setbacks to water body and wetland. So the proposed septic is proposed at a setback of 24 meters, whereas 30 meters is typically required. And then the fourth variance is for the minimum front yard setback, and the requirement being 15 meters, and the proposed is 13.6 meters. And then finally, the fifth variance is for the exterior side yard, the requirement being 10 meters, and the proposed being 3.7 meters. And this is the exterior side yard that abuts the unopened road allowance for clarity. So the recommendation, as the Township Planning Consultant, is that the Committee of Adjustment approve this minor variance, subject to the conditions, as the application is minor in nature, is desirable and appropriate, and maintains the intent and purpose of the Township of Stone Mills official plan and zoning bylaw number 2014-744. And just a couple other details in relation to the relief. So this application was deferred at the May 7th meeting for a sketch that to be based on a survey, and that was completed and submitted by the applicant. And just a note in regard to the reduction in the setback from the M3 zone, the applicant did submit a land use compatibility review assessment, and that concluded that there is minimal potential for conflict as a result of existing conditions that apply to that lot being extracted, and as such, there are no concerns with that reduced setback. I'm happy to go into detail on any of the other parts of the relief or the report, but I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Holly. Committee members have any concerns or questions?
Yeah, I have the question I have is, we did ask for a survey. Where's the survey? I see the sketch, which appears to have been, the survey was, they used the survey to prepare the sketch. But I still want to see this, the survey that was done by an interior land surveyor
Okay.
to confirm the boundary, the location of the boundaries.
Yeah, I can provide that to you here. The survey was provided by the applicant. Here, I can just. So here's the survey. Sorry that it wasn't uploaded. I did check the boundary dimensions.
Okay, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. Also, too, we have a letter stating an objection. Yes, sir. State your name, come up to the microphone, please.
Oops.
There you are.
Richard Lasher, and I'm 52 Camden Sheffield Boundary Road. And she just said that road allowance was a closed road. It's not a closed road. And when I sold the land to Jim Biggs, I had to, I didn't have enough road frontage, and the road frontage goes up that road allowance. And on my place, on the farm part, I don't have enough road, all I have is front of my house, and that road allowance is part of my road allowance, or road frontage as well. So that road allowance is not closed, and it's right on the, when I seen the guys came with the survey, it showed on there that it was an open road.
What does it show, Holly?
The survey itself doesn't specifically depict whether the road allowance is open or closed. The location of the road allowance where it is adjacent to the property is not, there's no road in that location. It's, as far as I understand, it is an unopened road allowance.
Okay,
The zoning for the site, just to clarify, the zoning for the property has reviewed the setbacks from this road allowance as if it were an open road allowance, in that we reviewed the lot line abutting that road allowance is considered an exterior lot line, which applies to streets, lot lines abutting streets. So in terms of the zoning, it was reviewed as typically a road allowance would be. In regard to the center line setback, on the township's official plan, this road allowance is not, in this location, is not a designated township road. And so under the OP, it's not a township road, and so the center line setback was not applied to that road allowance. But the exterior lot line, the way we review an exterior lot line, that did apply.
so that road allowance is like a lot more in this municipality. You don't know that they're there till you start something like this, but the distances have been allowed as though it was an open one. So the distances are what we have considered, and it's an open road allowance.
Yes, regarding, sorry to clarify through the chair, regarding the exterior setback has been reviewed as if it were a street, like a street located within that allowance. But at this time, it's a treed, to the extent of the lot boundary, it is a treed, unopened road allowance.
So there is no record to show whether it is closed or open or,
Specifically for the road allowance, as it pertains to the zoning amendment, the minor variance, I don't have anything in front of me, but whether the road allowance is open or closed, I don't believe impacts the variances that have been put forward.
I understand that, yeah, it doesn't impact it. Committee members, are there any more questions or concerns?
I do have to voice some concerns. We're dealing with five minor variances here, which is extremely unusual for any single property. The other issue is it is an extremely, it's what, around 2,400 square meters, which is about, or is it 20? Yeah, 20, which is just a tad over half an acre. So we're dealing with a really small lot with 5 minor variances. And it almost sort of strikes me as another one of these parcels of land in the township that maybe we shouldn't be building on, just because of all these concerns that come up. I realize that they've all been vetted and no one's complained about it, other than Mr. Lasher has some concerns about the infrastructure that's going on the property, and that's, I don't think, something that we can even deal with, you know, placement of septic tanks and things like that. And just going back to that road allowance, that's the road allowance between the original townships of Camden East and Sheffield, and it is an unopened road allowance, is what would be the proper termination for it. Anyways, that's just my comments on it.
Yes, Marilyn?
I know that it is quite a few pieces of areas that need to be considered. However, we have addressed quite a few lots of record on lakes of recent years that were very tiny, and people had hoped lots of times they were simply demolishing an old cottage and improving the whole thing. In this case, they want to build. There's been nothing there. It is a lot of record. It's difficult for them to add to it at this point in the game from the looks of things. Mr. Lasher has put forward his concern. From what I'm getting from him, perhaps, is that some portion of that road allowance is open in front of his property. Is that correct? Yes. But not all of it? All of it. All of it is open? The entire length? Yes. So but it's...
Even over on the portion that goes over on the portion that goes on Spindle Tree Farm.
Okay.
That there, Sheffield gave that to Brown when they were in council. They gave them Maryville's piece of land there for, Brown went out and done the blueprint up for the fire hall down Tamara. And without buying it, they transferred that piece of land from Mary over to Brown on Spindle Tree Farm.
Right.
With no, and she got nothing for it. And the road was already, that road in there is the same as on this other corner. This is when you first come in there. And on that.
So let me understand, this road that is all grown up is open.
It's still open.
So, but it's not maintained.
It's not maintained, that's all.
So,
And I have proposed that, I talked to the road superintendent, and I told him I would like to open it up. So, because it's the way I can get to there's a piece of land, I've got about 3 acres up on top of the hill there, that's how I can get to it.
I see.
And I'd like to open up and give that to my daughter. And because, my wife and, we're getting older.
That would be a separate issue
That's
to
a separate
this,
issue.
though.
That's a separate issue, but that road, we need that road, and also, Evans, Mr. Evans there, his, when I severed that lot off for him, that boundary road was part of his road allowance.
But it's not open, it's not maintained.
It was open at the time.
It's
So
not,
if it's closed, somebody's closed it since then, but we've never promoted it.
it's not maintained, it's not officially
It's not-
closed.
Okay, but it's just not being used there, that's all.
That's unmaintained
It's not
road
maintained,
allowance.
but it's a it's an
This,
open
this
road.
application is not asking for us to close that particular
No.
piece.
Well,
It's
it has-
actually addressing the fact that it's an unopened road allowance, but it doesn't seem likely it's going to be opened anytime soon. Are you telling me that your property might require that?
It
That
requires-
actual piece of
Yes, it
property?
does, yes.
Okay, but that you haven't applied for that yet?
No, I haven't applied for it yet.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we need a motion to either approve or deny or defer. Don't everyone speak at once.
I can say something if it helps.
Sure.
Hey, I'm Jordan. I'm the guy that owns the property doing the applications here. So with his concern with the unopened road allowance, I don't see how we'd affect that or impact that in any means. We're just trying to be within, we're not actually gonna touch that land at all. It's not being used, you can't even tell where it is if you go look, it hasn't been touched in 30-plus years, so. I can't see how me putting a house near it would affect anybody for future use if they're gonna use as a four-wheeler trail or whatever he's gonna do. But there's a road right there to just go around it, so I don't see how it's an issue. Thanks.
Okay. Need a motion for something. You're on the air, go ahead, nobody else is speaking up.
Hello, so I'm the commissioner, I live at 1077 Chippewa Road. I'm just trying to understand, so that piece of land that's there, I don't know much about it. Like, I moved in, it was already, I guess, severed. But from what I've heard from numerous people, and this might not be true, is that land was severed, but was it sold to anyone? Like, is there any history on the land that's there? Because, like, I've been told numerous times that it was a part of my property, that it wasn't. So I just don't know, like, what's going on with that. Like, if it's already been, I'm just confused on what's going on with that. Yeah,
So when the township, the old road allowance used to be the real road back in the day,
yeah,
and then the township moved the road, like to where it exists now.
yeah.
And it just created that corner lot when they discontinued the old road allowance and moved it to the new. You see what I mean? This is all the newer road, which is actually active.
Yeah.
So this just became vacant land when they canceled this road years and years ago.
But did the land belong to anyone?
The township owned the land and then they sold it to someone else. They brought it back with back taxes and then I bought it just this summer. So it never belonged to you. It belonged to
I'm
the
just,
town.
I just don't know.
It's not an illegal.
I'm not saying it.
All we're dealing with here is a minor variance.
Yeah.
And it's the measurements from the road allowance, even though it was, even as if it was opened, right, Holly? Yeah. So, yes, Aaron?
Coming back to Marilyn's comment, yes, this committee has seen many applications that have numerous variance requirement requests for consideration. From a quantity perspective, I'd just like to ask the consultant planner, for the benefit of everyone in the room, to kind of review the minor variance test at a high level in terms of what's involved in that process, and specifically differentiate between why it's not a quantity consideration.
Thank you, and through the chair. Yes, so in any case, each variance is assessed against the 4 tests that are outlined in the Planning Act. Those tests being individually for each variance, being, does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Is it desirable for the appropriate development or use of the land, building, or structure? And is it minor in nature? And so I understand that the quantity of variances may be more than typically you're used to dealing with, but these variances have been analyzed individually for their impacts. One of those tests is the variance minor. And it is my opinion that each variance individually is minor, and that while there are 5 before you, the cumulative impact is still minor, if that can clarify. In terms of the extractive industrial zone setback, as mentioned, they submitted a land use compatibility analysis, and based on that, it's our understanding that the impact of the dwelling is minor and any impact on the dwelling is also minor, such that it meets that 70-meter Class 2 industrial use distance. I will stop there, but I'm happy to expand on in terms of minor regarding the other variances if you're unsure.
Okay, we're still back at square one. Yes, Aaron?
Based on Holly's feedback, I'll put a motion on the table to approve the variance per the conditions in the staff report.
Yes, Merrill?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, girls. Been moved by Aaron, seconded by Merrill. Any further discussion? It's been moved that we approve. All those in favor? Opposed? 3-1. Carried. Thank you. Minor variance 2025-0010, 213 Thompson Hill Road, Chalmers. Anyone here? Go ahead, Holly.
All right, moving on to minor variance application MV 2025-0010. This is an application for minor variance at 213 Thompson Hill Road in Tamworth. So this is a single variance, and this is in order to facilitate the construction of an approximately 36 square meter, one-story addition to the existing dwelling on the subject property. The variance is for the enlargement of a legal non-complying structure within 30 meters of a water body, with the maximum permitted expansion being 12 meters and the proposed expansion being 36 meters, square meters, excuse me. It is the opinion of myself, Township's planning consultant, that the Committee of Adjustment approve the minor variance application subject to the recommended conditions of approval. As the application is minor in nature, is desirable and appropriate, it maintains the intent of the Township of Stone Mills official plan and zoning bylaw. So just briefly, as mentioned, this property fronts on the Salmon River. It's currently developed with a 2-story single detached dwelling, and a shed is under construction at the moment. The proposed addition is located in an area that's already clear of trees. It's just south of the existing dwelling. Excuse me. And it is the applicant, and part of one of the conditions is that all vegetation, existing vegetation between the proposed addition and the water be maintained, and this will support dealing with any runoff. And also, just to add, we've included a few conditions specific to environmental requirements or environmental protection. So one of those being that any rooftop rain collection be directed away from the water body using a rain barrel, rain garden, or sort of collection system. The existing vegetation between the addition and the water body is required to be maintained. And then there are some conditions just related to replacement of the existing holding tank as well. So I'll leave it at that. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Holly. Questions? Committee members? No? No one? Okay. Yes, Bob? Moved by Bob that we approve. Second by Dieter. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Severance applications. unaddressed Joyce Road, Nyberg. Amy, you're on.
No, now it's on.
You're on now.
Okay. The first consent application we have tonight is for an unaddressed property on Joyce Road. It has a lot area of approximately 32 hectares and a lot frontage of approximately 680 meters along Joyce Road. The applicant is looking to sever approximately 1.48 hectares to create a separate lot with plans that it would likely be developed in the future with a residential dwelling. The remainder of the property is intended to remain as is, largely for farming and agricultural purposes. This application originally did come, was supposed to come to the committee in April, but at the time, the Quinte Conservation Authority did ask for a deferral. They were looking for a karst assessment study, which has been done. Quinte Conservation reviewed it, and they're satisfied that it meets all the tests, and they have no concern with the application. The property is currently zoned as rural, and I have lots and lots of policy details in here, and I'm happy to walk you through them all. But in summary, based on our professional planning review, we believe that the consent complies with provincial policies, the provincial policy statement, with the county official plan, the local township official plan, and the zoning. Particularly as it pertains to pieces such as the karst protection. There should be no negative impact on any natural environmental features or any hazard areas. It, most importantly, with the town of Stone Mills official plan, there was a letter that was provided by one of the local residents questioning the number of severances that had occurred in the past. And there was some confusion on that, but we did get a Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, you're correct. Thank you. Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Same applicant, different file. Dunridge, yes. So it does, this application though does conform to the policies of the official plan in terms of numbers of severances. And there was no MDS required for this particular application, given there were no barns any closer to the proposed lot than other residences, and it is surrounded by an area that does have a number of existing residential dwellings. In addition, one of the policies that we carefully looked at was whether or not the policy 7.5.2 applies, which is where if you have an existing cluster of residential dwellings or the potential to have, what the impact could be on the water source and the hydrogeological requirements, and we're satisfied that there is not an issue there. Therefore, we're of the opinion from a policy and planning perspective and regulatory perspective, it meets all the tests of the Planning Act, and that we recommend approval subject to a number of conditions that are outlined in this report. So for this particular application, it was circulated to all 7 properties or in proximity to the site, and there were no comments or concerns raised. No comments or concerns raised by any of the other commenting agencies, both internal within the township, the county, or others.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. Committee members, have any concerns or questions? No? Emil, you okay? Okay. All right.
Except for
Need a
confusing the
motion?
applications.
Yes, Bob? Motion moved by Bob that we approve. Do we have a second? A second. Thanks, Aaron. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay. Now you're on again, Amy, for unaddressed Dinridge Road.
Right. Now, this is the correct application where there was a comment, but let me walk through some of the background first. So this is also by the same applicant that is looking to sever a large rural property. It is currently 31.5 hectares and has frontage along Denridge Road. They're looking to sever a parcel that's approximately 1.63 hectares. Again, the idea is to create that separate legal lot, potentially to accommodate a future residential dwelling, with the remainder of the land being undeveloped with no application subject to it for agricultural and rural purposes. It is currently designated rural by the official plan, and also it is zoned as rural. In the past, there have been some severances that pertain to this property, and this is where we did get a comment from a local resident who had been tracking some of the past applications. And in 2023, there was a severance for a lot addition purpose. In 2021, there was a severance, and that's where the 2023 lot was added to it. There was some errors in past reports dating back from those previous applications that had suggested that 3 severances had occurred. That is not in fact the case, and they did have the surveyor provide interpretation on the fact that a 2004 consent really was more of a lot boundary alignment, so it should not be considered as one of the 3. This would make the 3rd and final, as per your policies, permitted consent applications. In terms of our planning review, again, similar to the first application, as it's a similar land use designations and policies and regulations, we believe that the consent applies. An MDS report was prepared because there are 2 barns within proximity to the proposed severed lot that could contain a residential dwelling in the future. And the ARC that came back with those studies showed that it would not have any negative impact on the proposed severance or the lot. Similarly, this application was also originally intended to go forward in April, but Quinte Conservation Authority wanted a karst study done, which the applicant had done. Quinte reviewed it, they are comfortable with it, and believe that the proposed severance will have no negative impact on the environment or have any impact on the karst or hazardous conditions. We do recommend approval, given the fact that it meets all of those tests, in particular the ones that we looked at with your sections 7.2.3 of the official plan in terms of minimum distance separation requirements, the maximum of 3 residential lots, and we also note that there are 4 existing dwellings or lots intended to be used for residential within proximity, and therefore, as one of the proposed recommendations for conditions is to have a hydrogeological study done. And all of the recommended conditions are outlined in the attached, and they deal with the standard ones you normally have with surveys and road widening, but also in terms of the steps that the applicant will need to take to ensure that a septic bed can be dug, and in terms of the well, the establishment of the well, water testing, and the hydrogeological conditions. We did circulate, and as I mentioned, one neighbor did have questions regarding the number of consents, and as I understand, they're satisfied with the explanation provided by the surveyor that this, in fact, is the 3rd severance, not the 4th. And they're also satisfied that they'll be circulated on the findings of the hydrogeo study, as they have interests in their own well protection.
Thank you, Amy. Yes, we do have a letter. I'm sure you're aware. Yes, just wait a minute. I got to deal with the committee first, okay? Any concerns or questions from the committee? Yes, Dieter, I see you got your light on.
I know the severances that we approved to the north of that. I remember the horror story when they did the well report on that. It was my opinion at that time that lot was unsuitable to be built on, but I see they built a nice house on it. And I don't know, I think they finally went to dug wells. But I'm glad that you put in the hydro-G, because it's definitely going to be needed for that property. Because if you look at it, it's just shale rock there with junipers. There's hardly any soil there. So hopefully that hydro-G will allay any of my concerns when they finally get it done.
I was glad to see that too, Dieter. Very much so. Yes.
I think you're on.
Hello, my name is Leanne Moore, and I am the owner of 90 Cragen Road, which is the property across the street from the proposed application. I'm also the owner of another property down the road, 33 Cragen Road. As property owners in Stone Mills, my concern is that there is already an issue with availability of water in the area, with many owners having to get water from outside this township. This proposed property severance for a future dwelling would have a well on it and most likely be on the same vein as the 2 existing dwellings to the north. With the current water issues that the township is aware of, the proposal will further exacerbate the existing water shortage. Why add to an existing problem? This is a rural area and not a plan of subdivision. The infrastructure is not suitable for a residential zone. Also, the lack of water is an issue for fire services with limited resources nearby. Our pond on 90 Cragen Road is not what it used to be years ago. If I were the owners of the north of the applicant and the future water shortages, I would be sending the township my water bill every time I had to fill up my well. Please consider the impact this decision will make on its neighbors. Thank you for your time.
Yes, Aaron?
In response to what we just heard from the landowner, my question back to the township planner would be, can you provide some information regarding the Hydro G? I understand you're simulating the drawdown on multiple wells in a close proximity, but is that done at a single time in the year? Does that capture the 12-month cycle where we would have different seasons? Can you please speak to that?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I'm afraid I do not have the answer on the scope of the hydrogeological study that would be required. We know that it does need to be completed to the township standards that demonstrates the quality, quantity, and well construction. I will refer to whether or not perhaps some of our in-house technical people are able to answer that question. Peer reviewed? Okay. The township does have a peer reviewer who is on staff to review all studies that come in, as we do not have an in-house Hydro-G person. So that certainly is a question that we can pose back to them and ensure that's something that is of interest, that it's a 12-month cycle.
Yeah, like I'd be curious to know, because when we hear from landowners that water availability is a concern in this area, if the standard doesn't dictate, where, the Hydro-G studies done in the summer when the water table potentially is lower due to, we're in a well-had a drought this summer, obviously, is that reflective of current conditions throughout the calendar year?
Through you, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned, we can circle back to firstly confirm what the township standards are. I do note that as part of the conditions that each new created lot will require confirmation that the well is constructed to provincial regulation 903 standards. So I can also check back to, I would assume that it does deal with the 12-month cycle, as you're correct. There's certain seasons where there are drier spells, but I will have to check back with our expert and the town standards.
I guess I can tell you what I know about it, Aaron.
Sure.
Is that the Hydro-G study will give you the quantity and quality of the water, of the well that's being drilled. But also, too, they'll go to the neighboring wells, and when they do the drawdown, they will measure the drawdown on the neighboring wells to see if it affects them or not. The Hydro-G study is, I guess I would have to say, 100% the way it should be done to prove that there's water there and it's not going to affect the neighbors.
I appreciate that, Bob, and I agree with what you've shared. I guess where I'm questioning the process is, we're hearing from landowners expressing concerns that we don't have enough water, but yet we have a professional document that tells us there's sufficient water in the area based on the water demands for that geography. So that's why I'm trying to get better clarification on if you completed that same study at a different time in the year, would it provide the same results? Would we be told that there's sufficient water, or would we be told there's not? Can you confirm when that Hydro-G was done?
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, a Hydro-G has not been done yet. Okay. One of the conditions of the approval in order to receive the certificate of official is that a Hydro-G must be done by a licensed professional.
Right.
And that's where it would then be peer reviewed by the township's hydrogeo expert.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's like this, if the hydro-G study was done this time of year, for the dry conditions that we're in, and it proves satisfactory, it's gotta be a winner.
Yeah, so as a committee, do we want to consider capturing the season in which we require the hydro-G to be completed? Is that something we can consider?
I don't know whether we can dictate that or not.
I don't know either.
I wouldn't wanna go there myself.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm just, we have two different sources of information and they're not aligned. So as a committee, how do we move forward?
Sure, come at the microphone, please. State your name, please.
Hi, my name is Stacy Corvo. The only comment I wanted to make is we also have an application for severance, and so I have been speaking with some companies to have a hydrogeological study done, and I've actually been advised that the best time would be to be fall or winter, just the one company I spoke with, not to do it in the spring. Because that would skew the results of what you would receive. So they're actually doing it at a more dry period to do that study.
That was my comment, this time of year, right now, the conditions we're in.
Right.
If it proves satisfactory, it's gotta be a winner.
Right. So they do not want to do it in the spring because that is a skewed,
Oh, no.
right? That would be more moisture that would potentially be in the ground. So I can only speak to the one company so far that I've spoke with in detail. Again, this is not my application, so I'm not endorsing anything, but I just wanted to provide that information that the company I spoke with would not do it in the spring. They said that that would not be a satisfactory measurement at that time.
I think, if my memory serves me correct, it's Melrose that does the peer review? Yes. And I've had experience with them in the past, over the years, going back in time, that they are very, very thorough company. Very, very much so. Yes, you had a question?
Is this right? Good evening. I am Angela French, and I am at 163 Cragen Road, so just across the road. I'm the one that made the comment about the number of severances, and I also have concern about the water in the area. You may or may not recall the last time I had sent letters in, the lot in front of us was being severed and is now owned by Cam Parr, where the beautiful new home is that Dieter talked about. I had all kinds of questions and concerns about our old 100-year-old dug well at that time. And I was concerned that all of the blasting and the well drilling in the lot in front of us was going to affect our well. So I can't speak as to whether it did or not, but our 100-year-old well, we're having to get water in from the town of Napanee. So it's not completely dry, but it was there, it was fine, and now it's not. So we're dealing with that. I'm just wanting to make you aware, so I'm not, when Leanne is talking about the water in the area, when you stamp your deeds with severance approval, I know in that piece in front there, people who have been on this committee for many, many years will remember Neil Dennison, and you'll remember all the lots that he had tried to sever off and create and sell to LNA Real Estate Holdings, Penner and Vencona. Many of those lots, the deeds were stamped, they got their water, and then the water disappeared. So some of those lots where one of them was given back to the holdings and another property was given to them. You're shaking your head, you know this story. There's at least 3 down there. All of those houses, I shouldn't say all of them, but many of them that were built on that stretch there on Denridge Road
the water trucks are in there regularly right now. Like there's $700,000-800,000 homes there, and they're trucking water in. One just sold. So it is a problem, and even if you stamp the deeds and you get your well blaster in or your well driller in, and they give you a certificate saying, there's your 20 gallons a minute or whatever, in this area, that doesn't mean that that water is going to be there in a year or 2 years or 6 months. So I just wanted to note that. I also had a question, this is kind of not related to that, but it was more for Dieter. I was wondering if Dieter had a chance to look at that surveyor's opinion about the number of lots created. And I wondered when I was reading that what your feeling would be on that.
Sorry, if you look further on that, the redacted report that was done by Tom McDonald, here it is here. And if you look down, write it down, you'll see that my survey that I did in
Yeah, I think.
2004
Yeah,
of that
when Alan
property,
Harrington, yeah.
before anything went off that. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a separate parcel. So what, the way Tom described it, it really is considered a separate parcel in its own. And in 2004, there were no severances done on that. So, yeah, I have to agree with Tom, yeah.
You would, yeah, because I've been keeping, we've lived there for almost 40 years, and I've been keeping track of all the severances there. And I remember when Alan, did that first severance, and him going all over that property with the well driller, drilling hole after hole after hole, trying to find water. So that was severance number 1 to me. The Van Stralen, the Calver sale to Van Stralen lot, that was number 2. And then Cam Parr's lot in front of us, that was 3. So what Tom is saying is that if you go back to 1968, that in his opinion, that severance shouldn't have counted against the count. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, I think that the time that runs from 1992, I believe, anything prior to 1992 isn't taken into consideration.
No, but Alan Harrington's severance was 2004.
Now, where was that? Where's that on that sketch, though? Or show me here, or show.
So, at one time, Alan Harrington owned all of this.
That's right, the whole.
Right on up to the next street, Grady Road. So, I believe it's 2004, Alan severed off the north half from the south half, I'll say. Okay? That was in 2004. So then, he sold the property to somebody, and then that person sold it to Matt Calver. So that's one severance. So Matt Calver did this severance. That's 2. Then there was this severance done. That's 3. And when this property here was severed a couple years ago, the surveyor's certificate indicated that there were 2 consents already. And then this one went through, so that means 3. So when I saw all this, and I saw that there was a new one that said 2, I'm like, okay, well, how can the surveyor say in 2002 that there was 2 consents left? Or sorry, 2 that had already been done. And then that went through, and then now saying again that there's 2 left. So then I posed that question, and then they must have went back to the surveyor, and then he did a title search going back to 1968 or before that. And what they said was, well, when the Harringtons, when they bought all this here, well, they bought this piece from somebody, and they bought this piece from somebody, and he already owned this. So, you know what? We think that Alan didn't really mean to have those properties merged. He must have got bad legal advice or whatever. We don't really think that's what he meant to do. So therefore, we think that this severance shouldn't count.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're getting at there. Like I'm looking at the deed numbers, the part that you're dealing with there, that that was called parcel number 1 of an old deed. And the part, which doesn't show on there, but south of that was parcel number 2 in the same deed. So back in those days, if you bought this parcel of land and then turned around and bought this parcel of land, they automatically merge for purposes. But I think what the township, what Tom goes into the township is that because they were purchased at separate times, they shouldn't really have merged.
Well,
You know, I mean, that's,
going back to 1968 or 1950, or, and saying, well, in our mind, Mr. Harrington was thinking this, so then that shouldn't count as a severance. So, okay, I accepted that. I said, okay,
Yeah.
I get that. But then when this severance was done here, we
Yeah.
objected to it on the basis of our water. We were thinking, because at that time, that was the last severance that was gonna be there. We were told by the surveyor's certificate, which was the information I had, that once this one went through, that would be it there. There's no more. So, okay, we sucked it up and our well's gone dry, but now there's gonna be another one there. So, that's, sure, I've been there 40 years, and hey, that's too bad. I mean, that's the way it is, I guess, right? We got no water.
yeah. Well,
Our house was built there. Our house was built, you see this little part here? This was the well. Our house was built, this lot was created, and our house was built there because that well was a well that farmers all brought their cattle to, and it was valuable. So they therefore created this lot, our lot, just because that well was there.
Yeah, I know the time when the first severance came up, or the one across the road from you. I remember, I don't know how many, what you would know, they drilled more than one well, did they not there? That's right.
One was drilled, and the well report come back so bad that there wasn't anything they could do
Yeah.
to make it better. So then they blasted. And then, so Greg Parr owns Frank's Drilling and Blasting. So his son bought it. And so they went in there and they, I believe they took out the blasted one and they dug down deeper to get the water. I don't know, I'm assuming the water's fine there, but I really don't know.
So they're using a large dug well for water on that?
I believe so.
Because, but that was my recollection too, because the water they got from drilling that well down, I don't know how deep they went, but the well report it just was, it was like a horror story when I read the engineer's report on that.
Anyway, I know I'm not going to
I know.
change the world, I'm not going to change the township, but these are our struggles. And right now, it's just my husband and I living in that house on that well. We raised 2 children there, too. Never had a problem until late last fall. Anyway.
Amy, you had a,
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add some clarification. It's my understanding that the 2023 severance was a lot addition.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. That's not included in my.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I just
No,
wanted clarification.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, I can, 1, 2, 3, that lot addition's not.
Not one of the ones in question,
No,
right? Okay.
No.
okay. Anyone, the committee, any more questions, concerns? Need a motion to either approve or defer or deny. Well, see, everybody's anxious.
The original severance,
Pardon me?
the one severance above that one, that's when that came for approval. I said there's some parcels of land in this township that shouldn't be built on, and I'm almost getting the same feeling for this, but I have to go with the fact that we're now, if you read the requirements, most of the requirements for the severance deal with water, and there's and I still, at this point, stage of the game, I'm going to have to rely on that Hydro G stuff to say whether this thing actually flies or not. I think we're doing due diligence for that, and I know that the the water quantity. I have no idea what's going to happen, but anyways, that's where.
I feel that we've dotted the i's and crossed the t's with the Hydro G study. Is as secure as it can be, and also too. Yes, Bob.
I would like to see a date when that Hydro G is done, not make sure it's not done in the winter or spring or when there's lots of water. I'd like to see it done July, August, somewhere around there when it is really dry. But I don't think we can.
I can't see how we can dictate the time. I really can't. Can you help me out on that, Jason? I mean, you got to earn your money tonight, Jason, so speak up.
I would just, anecdotally speaking, refer to a past Hydro G study where it was submitted through a planning process. You can find past approvals and applications in our portal. I just wanted to find an example, and one of the reports that we have historically says groundwater elevation data from the nearby provincial groundwater monitoring network well number whatever located at Tamworth indicates an annual variation of approximately X number of meters between periods of high and low groundwater. And then there's a calculation that is used based on the other data that's collected during the Hydro G study. So it appears that seasonality is considered when assessing the viability of a Hydro G study by using provincial wells and their record of variation from high to low.
Thank you, sir.
And they would normally pump more, right? Based on the seasonality and not just seasonality, based on where the local monitoring well, I mean, clearly you can have dry winters and dry springs, and you can have wet summers and wet falls. It's really hard to pigeonhole 1 month as being dry. So.
If you're going to specify the time, as far as I'm concerned, it's like stacking the deck.
Bob, I have one more question of Amy. If you look on your recommendations, item 4, there's something there that I don't seem to understand. You talk about the owner shall enter into development agreement with the municipality in a form satisfactory to the municipality that incorporates the remedial measures and other features of the 15 water that have been, I don't quite know what you're getting. What does that mean? 15 water that have been identified. What is that? This doesn't make any sense.
And I'm sorry, you said condition 4?
Condition 4.
That if requested, Public Works road widening to a maximum of 5
No,
meters?
it's Roman numeral 4.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Right. These are the standard, through you, Mr. Chair, these are the standard well conditions used by the townships. So number 4, Roman numeral 4, for the purpose of determining water quality, the water sampled and tested and report prepared. Are we looking at the same, number 8, 4?
Above 8, no.
What one are you on, Dieter? Let's go.
Roman numeral 4, should any remedial measures be recommended? Is that the one you're reading to, Amy?
No, I'm reading Roman numeral number 4 under point 8, but you must be on.
Am I even on the right severance?
Maybe, may I come and see what you're looking at, just to.
Oh, okay, I'm on the wrong severance, forget it. We'll deal with that when we come to that.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just keep scrolling here and I
Okay.
keep missing it. Sorry, all right.
Okay.
Yes, Marilyn?
So just to clarify, the Hydro G studies, they obviously do consider the whole year from the sounds of that particular one that Jason found, Mr. White found?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that appears to be the case. I think it's some of our homework. We will circle back and check what Regulation 903 and the other requirements for the hydrogeo to follow. We'll also double check what the towns might have for their own scope and speak to Malros. It sounds like they do testing at a certain period, but then they use a model then to create assumptions throughout the year, testing for both dry and wet seasons.
Sounds like they have a formula that they
Sounds like
use
they
for
have a
that.
formula,
So, you know, I would think that probably they would have to do something like that in order to protect themselves from liability.
Okay, we need a motion to approve or defer or deny. Yes, Aaron?
You know, after hearing everything that's been said, I feel that we need to trust the experts and the technical requirements, recognizing that obviously they're simulating conditions over an extended period of time to consider the seasons. So based on that, I would put a motion on the floor to accept as per the staff conditions.
We have a motion to approve, made by Aaron. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Marilyn. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried, 3-1. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know if we could have Melrose come and explain this whole situation to us, how this all works, so we have a good understanding of what we're talking about.
I can't see any reason why not. I mean, I've been privileged to that over the years, but yeah, if that's what the committee would like, we can make that recommendation to Brandy here. Go ahead, Brandy.
May I suggest that under announcement and inquiries that a motion be made to request staff to reach out to Melrose to come to the committee and pass a motion?
You make that a motion, Bob? Do we have a seconder? Second by Marilyn? I would assume everybody would be in favor of that. Okay. All right. Emil, you're on your own.
Okay.
Severance, 2025-0018, 2381 County Road 1 East, Ben. Josh, you want to join next to Amy here? Okay. Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, so yes, this is a severance application for the consent to sever an approximately 4.4 hectare rural zone property that has the municipal address of 2381 County Road 1 East. And the purpose of the proposed consent is for lot creation in order to eventually build a single-family residential development. And the retained parcel will remain as is. It's currently developed with a dwelling, and no changes proposed on that retained parcel. The proposed severed parcel will be 2.5 hectares, and it will have approximately 61 meters of frontage on the county road, as well as frontage along the Napanee River of approximately 48 meters. As I mentioned, the site is currently zoned as rural. It's also currently designated as rural by the county official plan as well as the township's official plan. And there is a bedrock resource overlay. Schedule C of your township official plan shows high-risk zone and significant groundwater recharge area, as well as some known karst on the subject property. Through our review of the provincial policy statement, the county and township's official plan, the review of comments received from Quinte Conservation Authority, the county and township planners were of the opinion that the proposed application does meet the tests of the Planning Act And our recommendation is for approval with a number of conditions. One of the main considerations of this particular file when we were working through it, and it was originally proposed to come forward last month, but was deferred so that township staff could have some more time to review and to let the applicant undertake some additional minimum distance separation analysis, which was completed. And following that very robust MDS report that we reviewed, we're confident that the proposed residential lot can go forward, that there's adequate separation boundaries from the nearby barns. There was a barn in question, which is owned right across the street, the former auction center barn. And if you saw the letter, we have had correspondence from Mrs. Harrison, who owns that property. And she also has a barn in the rear of her other property behind the house. That one was deemed through the MDS report to have no issues if it was to be utilized for cattle again on the proposed severance. But through this analysis and based on the guidelines of the MDS provincial guidelines, the current, the auction center barn, or the former auction center barn, was deemed to require building permits if it was to ever be utilized again for housing livestock. And it's also on an undersized lot, which is a historic situation, and it would have been sort of a grandfathered condition. But if that parcel was to be utilized for livestock other than just for stockyard purposes, it would need to either be rezoned, have a minor variance applied to it because it is an undersized lot, or it would need to be merged on title with the adjacent parcel in order to meet your zoning and OP requirements. So an NDS calculation was not done on the auction center barn. But through our analysis, as we learned, any sort of separation distance concerns, if it ever was to house livestock, are really with the existing house on the retained parcel, opposed to the proposed future house on the severed parcel, given it is farther away than the existing house. So we are satisfied with the findings of the MDS, and we do want to bring forward that there was a comment and concern. We toured the property and then have issued a response to the owners across the street. I also just want to point out, too, as one of the conditions, the county is requiring that only one there has to be a mutual shared driveway access, which I know it causes concerns with some development. This, as I understand, is a family side-by-side development, so that might be okay, but it is certainly one of the conditions that the county has put forward, and they are also requiring a reserve of land to ensure that that mutual driveway, that no separate driveway access is introduced to the county road for traffic and safety purposes. A well already is established on the site, so that is why some of those conditions of establishing a well are not included in the recommended conditions of approval, but certainly undertaking the standard water and quality reports is required. Hydrogeo does not come into play here, and another special piece of conditions brings forward the Quinte County's recommendations. They have no concern with the proposed severance or the proposed development, but the applicant needs to acknowledge that they are within proximity to Napanee River, and there are certain setback requirements there, and they also need to acknowledge that should karst be encountered, that they will need to hire a qualified geotech engineer to help them with the building site location. So our recommendation, based on the review and the input received from the various levels of government and technical advisors, is that it meets all the tests, and we're recommending approval.
Committee members have any questions? Yes, Bob?
Is that road right away closed?
Through you, Mr. Chair, road right of way.
Road allowance between two sections, not travel?
That, through you, Mr. Chair, I am not sure.
Where the property line is, it looks like it could be, and my concern was if it wasn't, and it got open, what happens to that little piece of property out on the waterfront?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, Bob, that road allowance has been closed, and the requirements normally has been that you deed half and half. If you look, there's a reference plan number on it as well. So I'm just sort of projecting the fact they did survey that concession road allowance, had it closed, and then given it to the adjoining owners. That's, I take from the sketch.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, one question. The requirement for a common entrance is fine. Should we not add somewhere in there that the existing entrance be abandoned, just to be sure that, I know they're supposed to give a 0.3 meter reserve.
I think it says that. in
Yeah, I
there.
think it does.
Does it where?
I remember reading something.
I'm trying to find it here.
Okay. The condition does not mention the abandonment, but the comments do note that. The condition is that the applicant shall survey and provide a legal plan for a 0.31-foot reserve across County Road 1 frontage of both the severed and the retained parcels, with the exception of a 10-meter gap at the mutual entrance common lot line. The purpose of this reserve is to prohibit access except at the location of the mutual entrance. Interestingly, though, the county did not seem to add that provision, which I have seen in other conditions, that they either have to abandon the existing if they're creating a new, unless the mutual access is to be side by side.
And giving a 0.3 meter reserve really means nothing to the average person. You know, I can see that fine, we'll do that, but they'll have to build quite a long new driveway to get to the house, you know, if you look at the sketch from the over. So I think that should be added, that the existing entrance be abandoned and removed, just to be sure that they still don't keep using that entrance.
How's the committee feel?
So I'd like, I want to make a motion that be added to the conditions of approval.
Moved by Dieter that we add the condition that the existing driveway be decommissioned.
Yeah, abandoned and removed, or decommissioned, or however you want to call it.
Do we
I would
have
say
a second?
abandoned and removed, I think.
Seconded by Bob. Any further discussion?
Do you want me to
Yes,
read it
yes,
out? We
Cindy.
have a standard condition that we get from the county. Any existing entrances will be completely removed such that they no longer exist. The area of the removed entrances shall be graded to match the contours and elevations of the adjacent ditch and surrounding area, and further, the area must be rehabilitated with suitable topsoil and grass seed.
Thank you, Cindy. I knew I read that someplace.
So I'll amend my motion that that be added to the severance application approvals.
Last month, Amy, you and me had a discussion on this shared driveway business. Did you have conversation with the county?
I think we left it that if the county is recommending it, that us as your planners would not challenge it, but certainly we're open to having a conversation. We understand that they're trying to limit the new driveway cuts for safety and visibility and sight lines. We also understand it's challenging, though. I think as we discussed, that it's fine if parcels, if people are family members or friends, but what happens in the future if one sells their parcel? That creates complications and easements, and
I have very strong feelings on that shared driveway, and I look at what has been created. Like, I've been on this committee for a long time, and there's been a lot of severances on County Road 1. And none of them are shared driveways. All you gotta do is start from Makes Bridge and come to Camden East and start counting the lots that have been severed off, all with separate driveways. And we've got another one before us tonight, besides this one here, that they're wanting a shared driveway.
I've always been in the opinion that high-speed arterial roads, you shouldn't be strip developing high-speed arterial roads. This is a partial solution to the problem, where you keep adding entrances and entrances and entrances, and all you do is going to be creating a serious traffic accident at some point in time. I mean, that's always been my feeling. You know, so I really have personally have no problem with this. I think it's a good remedy to that problem of strip developing along high-speed arterial roads. Just my own opinion.
I think, Dieter, if you were to look at the OPP report for the amount of accidents that happened on County Road 1 as compared to the accidents on the 401, which there's no entrances, compare. I rest my case. Anyhow,
While we're at it, can I add one more condition to the recommendation? Typically, when the county is commenting, we also have a recommendation that a copy of the R plan be given to the county, which is standard. We do it on all of them, but I do see that it was not within the recommendation.
our hands are tied when it's a recommendation from the county. I mean, we can't change that one. Anyhow, need a motion to approve. Do you have your hand up, Josh? Nope. Okay, sorry. I just saw need a motion.
I have one more question of Amy, Mr. Chairman. This goes to that section 5, Roman numeral 4,
Okay.
sorry. I still need to trying to see what you're saying there. If you look down there, I'm talking about this thing about, it says of the 15 water that have been identified. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Is that just a sort of a copy and paste mistake or something?
Through you, Mr. Chair, could you please confirm, are you looking in
I'm
the
looking at,
conditions, page 14? The Roman numeral 4, I see Roman numeral 4 under condition 7.
Am I on the wrong application again? Wait a minute. No, this is the right one. No, this is Roman numeral, condition Roman numeral 4, which
So-
comes just before 8, 9, and 10.
On my conditions, I have regular numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then under 7, I have Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4.
4, okay, that's the one I'm referring
Okay.
to, under 7.4, all right.
I don't see the word fit in my Roman numeral 4. I see, should any remedial measures be recommended or other features concerning the water identified in the well driller's report or water quality report, the owner shall enter into a development agreement with the municipality in a form satisfactory to the municipality that incorporates the remedial measures and other features of water that have been identified, and the agreement shall be registered against title to the property on which the well is located.
Okay, so there's a transcription error.
Interesting,
It says-
okay.
It says of the 15 water, so 15 should be removed. Doesn't make any
Interesting,
sense.
okay. It's not on my printout, but
Did you see that, Cindy?
Yes, I believe it's just a formatting issue. Sometimes with iCompass, we have to be very careful.
Okay.
And things are copied and pasted, and sometimes IT things
it's not,
happen.
which is so interesting.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I
can-
don't know what happened there.
Can
But
just
that's
just
from
take it
this.
out, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, thanks, I'm done.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, with the added condition on the driveway, Dieter, that you had made?
Yes, I thought we already did that, but we didn't vote on it, did we?
No.
Okay, so the motion that we add the condition that Cindy read out about closing and abandoning that existing driveway.
Are okay with the seconder? That was you, Bob, right? You seconded that. Okay. All clear? All in favor? Carried. You can go start. Need two motions? I thought we could include that in the, no?
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I may,
Sorry,
I
Amy.
believe I understand what Cindy is saying. There is wording saying that you need to, from the county in the body of the report, that appears not to have made it into the condition, that for that reserve, the title. sorry, bear with me and I will find that.
I thought I'd read it someplace, Amy.
It's in the body of the report that says that as part of the approval, the county is requiring applicant to provide a transfer deed to the county for the 0.3 meter reserve. That one sentence of providing the deed did not unfortunately make it into the conditions, my apologies. And that's what I believe Cindy's looking to correct. So it did come from the county.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll make a motion that that be added as well. A copy of the survey be provided to the county. Okay.
Okay, we have a seconder. Aaron, thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. That tidies that up. Okay, Cindy? Okay, next one is 2025-0021, lot addition, on address, Hooper Road.
So this application is actually in, sorry.
Can you bring that up so I can I want to read, there's a correction I want to make in the recommendation. Yeah, but there's a misconception in distance.
Sure.
Hold you up.
No, that's okay. And I think I'll stand to point at the screen. Is that allowed? Or, okay. Just because it is a very small piece. This application for 2025-0021 is a lot addition, and it's really intended to correct a mapping error that occurred in the severance and lot addition B29-2024. And we do have the applicant's solicitor here who has a bit more information should there be questions, but it's a fairly small piece that this application is to acknowledge that this tiny 0.15 hectare triangle that is outlined in green was omitted by accident from the previous application due to a mapping issue with provincial data. So what this application is seeking to do is to sever that green triangle of 0.15 hectares from the blue lot here, add it back to the severed or the retained portion that happened in 2024, and then these two pieces will be merged. It's a lot addition. So really we're just dealing with this tiny triangular piece, just correcting the mapping error. There's all the other intended conditions that came forward in 2024 will carry on. It's really more of a housekeeping type item.
Any concerns or questions? I have one. Page 2, Amy. The subject property is approximately 800 meters east of the hamlet of Camden East. It's got to be west of Camden East and east of Newburgh.
That, I believe, was the report from 2024. We didn't write a planning report for this because it was a minor piece, but it looks like you're saying that the original applications report was incorrect? Okay, we can certainly change that and update it on the files.
I picked up on that when I was reading it.
Okay.
Anyone else have any concerns or questions?
No, when I looked at the Severn sketch, my first question is, why are we creating a 0.15 hectare landlocked parcel? Because it doesn't say we're severing that as a lot addition, so I was just wondering what it was all about.
Need a motion to approve, or moved by Bob to approve? Second, or Dieter? Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, the last one is,
I'm afraid we have two more.
go ahead, Amy. I'll catch up in a while. Maybe I will. Okay, here we are, 0022-923, County Road 1 East. Corview? Pardon me? Okay, thank you.
Okay, this file is an application for consent to sever an approximately 14.66 hectare rural zoned parcel. And just want to point out that that 14.66 hectare includes the land on the north side of the river, where no severance is occurring. That land is being the retained portion, but they're looking to sever the parcel and create a 1.23 hectare lot for the purposes of, in the future, developing a single detached dwelling. The retained parcel, which includes the land across the river as well, currently contains a single detached residential dwelling. And similar with this application, the county is requiring a joint driveway access, and the conditions are in the report as well. So this parcel does not currently have a municipal address. It's part of the larger property known as 923 County Road 1, and it's located just west of County Road 18, approximately just under 4 kilometers southwest of Strathcona. It currently contains the single detached dwelling, and as I mentioned, the intent is to sever a new parcel and build a new residential dwelling. In addition to being zoned rural right now, it is currently designated rural, and we went through the similar tests and policies reviewing the number of consents which had occurred previously, and it meets the requirements there. No MDS was required given the location, and there aren't any livestock facilities in proximity that we needed to be concerned with. And Quinte Conservation has commented on it. While there are some mapping that demonstrates there could be karst in the area, Quinte has indicated that reviewing their mapping, there is no evidence. However, as a condition of approval, should karst be encountered, then certainly the applicant must acknowledge that and get a hired geotechnical engineer to assist. They, given that they do back onto the Napanee River, that's another condition that Quinte has put forward, that providing the development is any closer than 30 meters to the floodplain, they'll have to get a permit. So that is part of the conditions. It is on a county road, and as I mentioned, therefore, we need to have a mutual entrance configuration, and we'll double check that the condition also includes providing that survey piece to the region. We have also included into the conditions the hydrogeological assessment, same situation where it is within an area that has a number of residential properties or residential dwellings. And again, it'll be helpful once we have Mal Ross come in and clarify the process in terms of timing as to when the studies are undertaken. But other than that, we didn't get any comments. It was circulated to all properties within 60 meters. No comments were provided. We're satisfied from a planning perspective. It meets all the policies and regulations, and we base our decision also based on the input we received from the county, from Quinte Conservation Authority, and our in-house technical experts. We're recommending approval.
Thanks, Amy. Questions, concerns from committee? Yes, Marilyn?
Coming back to this business of too many severances on one parcel of land, I'm just looking at this and I'm seeing that one was created in 1989. I don't know, I'm assuming it's from that same parcel, but it would not have any effect because we're talking since 1998, correct? The other one is on the east side, which is September something or other, 2012, a prior severance, but perhaps that's not the same parcel of land?
The prior consent report that was completed by the surveyor acknowledged that there's been 2 previous lots created via lot creation since January 1998,
Okay,
so this would
that's
be
part
the
of it.
third.
Okay. Just clarifying. Thank you.
Also, too, it would qualify as infilling too, wouldn't it?
Mr. Chair, I'll have to double check on that in terms of the policy on how many houses are within that area.
And I got my favorite.
Your favorite.
That shared driveway.
May I ask a question about that?
Pardon me?
May I ask a question? Like,
Sure.
forward? Again, my name is Stacy Corvo, and I am one of the applicants. As people that have absolutely no idea about how country properties work, I'm going to just bounce this off of you. So I understand from what is said this evening is that this mutual driveway, that's a county requirement, not a township requirement. And if we wanted to somehow revisit that with the county, is that something we just do through a separate application? Is that even allowed?
Good luck. Not trying to be smart, but.
Yep. Just because there is no mutual driveway, so they would have to, whoever bought our property would have to drive like 300 plus feet across our property to get to where that house, where the property's being sold. So I don't see how, as an emergency dispatcher myself, how that is a safety. I understand it's not your decision, but it was just something that I don't understand how that would be safe, a safer option.
I think you have a misunderstanding of what they want.
Oh, okay, I probably do then.
The mutual
Oh, okay.
the mutual driveway is going to be done on the new severance line.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're the one that's going to have to drive 300 feet to your house.
We're gonna have to, we can't use our existing driveway?
No, you can't use your existing driveway. Just like on that other one, you have to abandon your existing driveway.
That makes no sense.
So I finally have somebody on my side.
Well, in that case, you're being put to real hardship.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've got no choice but to do the recommendation, but you can always appeal it, I guess.
So
Isn't there an appeal process for this?
there is no appeal, like, so if you can further explain, so the new driveway that's created between the lot we would be severing and our existing property, then we enter there and then go across our property to join our existing driveway, I guess, but then the one we have right now is filled in, the accessibility to the road. Okay.
Yes, Bob?
It doesn't make sense to have to put that lane there. That's right in the passing lane of that corner. You go around to County Road 18. That's where it's gonna come out, almost right in the last part of that passing lane. That doesn't make any sense.
No, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter where you, if you don't have that condition, that driveway to the new house is still going to be in the same location, right?
No, I realize that, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yes, Marilyn?
I think we're just confusing this poor lady. You will have to apply to the county and
Okay.
not to us, and they
Right.
will explain to you where
Yep.
you need to put it.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. We don't have control
Right,
over that.
okay.
But they will explain it to you
Sure.
in a better fashion, I hope, than we are trying to
Okay.
explain to you tonight.
I appreciate that. Thank
They
you.
will tell you that the bylaw was passed in, I think it was 87. That's what they told me. The bylaw was passed. But I said to them there has been severances granted on that road after 87. But, yeah. Someone had their hand up? No? Yes, yes, Aaron?
I was just thinking, like, I guess the other option is, you know, we could defer the application, which would allow more time to revisit this discussion with the county, as it would still be an active application. That would be one option that you would have.
I think we would still want to go forward.
So, sorry, just because we're, to make sure. If you approve it now, and we go to the county and get them to change that, would it change your approval? Would we have to redo all this? So would this deferring it, would there be a point to deferring it? Okay.
Would there be an objection to our initially approved application if we had the driveway position, if we were successful in getting that moved?
If we approve it, we're going to be approving as it states
Okay.
now. If we defer it, and if you want time to go to the county, then that would, to me, that's the option to take,
Right.
is to defer it for now.
We will choose to defer then.
So the reason I'm suggesting that is if we approve it tonight, we'll approve it as per the conditions listed, which will send you forward on a path that you're constructing this mutual driveway, which would have you significantly modify your existing driveway based on the way it currently sits on the landscape.
Okay.
If you defer it, your application's effectively put on pause. You have the ability to revisit that conversation. You may or may not be successful with that. That's outside of our control.
Right.
But you wouldn't be, your application's on pause instead of.
I appreciate
being
that
approved
clarification.
With the conditions that probably wasn't what you were visualizing when you came in here tonight.
Correct. Thank you.
So you would prefer if we deferred it?
Correct. Yes.
I'm going to be all ears for the next meeting, believe me. Okay?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to lobby with the county to see whether they'll take that condition out in this instance.
Okay.
So
Thank
I'll
you.
leave that up to you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I was suggesting to the applicant perhaps she retain a transportation consultant to look at some sight lines, given that you have that intersection, you have the hill, and maybe just working with the county for them to understand or potentially even do a site visit in terms of the implications of creating that driveway.
And so you said a traffic consultant?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We will defer.
I need a motion to
Transportation
defer.
engineer.
Moved by
You can
Bob,
call us if you want.
seconded by Marilyn to defer. All those in favor? Carried. Good luck to you.
Thank
One
you.
other comment, if anybody's interested, right across
Stacy?
from where County Road 18 comes, there is a, entrance there already. I don't know if that makes any, it won't make any difference, obviously, but right here, there is an entrance.
There's all kinds of entrances along that
All
county
existing
road.
entrance, farm entrance.
Probably an unofficial entrance, but there's
So through you, through the county, they have specific entrancing spacing that they are they tie those approvals very closely to. Like, they have a full bylaw and they measure how far you are from one entrance to another, and there's not much leeway between between the entrances.
Take these, Brandy.
2025-0023, lot addition, 61 Inglesby Road. Sager. Amy, go for it.
Okay, so this is an application for consent to sever a portion of an approximately 18.6 hectare rural zone property that's municipally addressed as 61 Inglesby. The purpose of this severance is for a lot addition to enlarge the adjacent parcel known as 50 Burdock Lane. And the intent behind it is to reallocate land holdings amongst family members. No new development is proposed at this time. What is of interest, though, is that there is a private laneway that runs through both the Burdock Lane is the private laneway, and then you have your properties that front the lake, and then you have 61 Inglesby Road. And we have worked with the surveyor to confirm that access will continue on because there is one more property at the end of Burdock Lane, so that this proposed severance and lot addition will not interrupt the rights of 56 Burdock to continue to access their property. And that is part of the conditions. So this property, as I mentioned, it is a 50 Burdock Lane that will be receiving the land, will be enlarged. It's a fairly small property at 0.18 hectares, and it does have frontage on Burdock Lane and frontage on White Lake. It does not have frontage itself on Inglesby and will not through this application. Only the retained portion will maintain its frontage on Inglesby. It's currently designated rural. The subject property and the benefiting property are currently designated rural area by the county official plan. And then most of it is also designated rural by your county official plan, with the waterfront piece being designated as floodplain. There are woodlots shown on Schedule B of your town official plan, and it's quite heavily forested area, part of the land that's being conveyed over. As I mentioned, no proposed development is proposed through this application. The subject property, so the 61 Inglesby, is currently zoned rural in your zoning bylaw, but the benefiting parcel, which is Burdock Lane, is zoned rural limited services. So as one of the conditions, because the township prefers not to have split zoning on one parcel, as a condition, the applicant will need to rezone the lot addition portion so that the entire property of Burdock, the enlarged property, will then have the same RLS zone. And they're aware of that. And that would be a next step and a condition that would have to be cleared. I think all of the other policies, I can certainly go through them. A lot of the other concerns, there's no MDS requirements there. We have had one, we have a consent report that shows one consent has happened in the past. Therefore, it complies with your policies there. We do note that there's approximately 20 property owners. It's a row of mostly seasonal dwellings along the waterfront. No comments or concerns were provided. Quinte Conservation Authority is okay with the application, provided that one of the conditions that we've included says, should the applicant propose any development, which they're not through this application, but should they propose, there are those setback requirements from the floodplain of White Lake. And that is it. They're fairly straightforward, and again, it's really just for repurposing and repositioning of some family property holdings amongst various relatives to a larger property.
Committee members have any questions or concerns? Okay, I need a motion to approve or deny or defer.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dieter. Seconded by Marilyn to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Deputations other than pertaining to applications, I guess there is, excuse me, there isn't any. Other business, any other business? No, no other business? I guess I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Aaron, seconded by Bob. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a good evening.